So at Vortex, we were focused on the security part for the platoons and for the V2X communications. And so we developed two main contributions. The first one is the privacy for the platoons. So we have two main issues here. The first one is that when a truck is joining a platoon, it may want to have its identity preserved from the platoon elements. And the second part is that a platoon will want to have its communications protected from outside observers. So, for example, if you look at the picture, you have a platoon in there and you want the communications between the trucks to be protected against the other cars that are passing around it or infrastructure and so on. So for these two objectives, we developed a solution that comprises a public key infrastructure, okay, so that the trucks can authenticate with a central authority that will say that the truck can or not join a platoon. And once this is done, the existing platoon will receive a confirmation from the central authority, okay, this identity can join, but this identity is also hidden so that the trucks know that whoever is joining is allowed, but they don't know who it is. And hence we get the first part of the privacy. The second part, we have a key rotation system where the platoons obtain the same symmetric key for efficiency, and they always communicate using this symmetric key that will be used to encrypt and authenticate the messages that are exchanged within the platoon. When elements join or leave, this key has to be rotated in order to leaving elements to no longer have access to the messages that are being exchanged. The second part, or second contribution actually, is related to what Pedro was presenting. So in these V2X scenarios, there are a lot of cases where you have very low latency requirements. So for example, for the emergency braking, you have like 80, 100 milliseconds between sending a message and actuating based on that message. And we also wanted to include authentication here because you don't want rogue elements to send messages, for example, warning messages that the car should brake in situations where it shouldn't. For example, to steal the values of whatever is being transported or wherever you can imagine. So we needed to develop a solution where an entity can authenticate another entity within those 80 milliseconds and without requiring a third party to make this connection. So this is basically the regular PKI. We wanted to avoid that. So this is something that we're developing right now. This is a solution that whenever a vehicle receives a message that comes from another vehicle, it includes a signature that can be validated without requiring a third party and without requiring any further connectivity. So if even if the car is only receiving local messages, it can still authenticate the sender. This is based on attributes-based encryption and on multi-part computation. It's still focused on also in efficiency because of the message sizes and the transmission times. And also this authentication mechanism does not require revocation lists.